Pictures say 1,000 words.
In the heart of Kansas lies a town rich in history, tradition, and art. Hays may seem like a small dot on the map, but as you walk its streets, you'll find a tapestry of stories told not through textbooks, but through vibrant murals. These incredible works of art breathe life into the history of Hays, each brushstroke telling the tales of the town's past. Murals have long served as a medium for storytelling across cultures and time. In Hays, these murals transform buildings into canvases that celebrate local heritage, significant events, and the everyday lives of its residents. When traveling through Hays, you'll notice various types of murals around town. Most of these murals are painted by Dennis Schiel. Dennis grew up in Colorado, but later moved to Hays. His life would soon change once he arrived and got to painting.
There was a guy in Australia that painted a mural on a great big old bend. And he did really fabulous work. And I says, I can do that. So I just started doing it. And that's what the Fox building was, the very first one I painted.
One of the most profound murals in Hays is the one on the Fox Theater. It is located at 1202 Main Street, and these vibrant paintings recall the harrowing yet hopeful journeys of the settlers who transformed this land. We can see the depictions of families embarking their treks across the plains filled with dreams and aspirations.
I didn't paint any murals. I always do just small canvas pieces. The first one was just based on Hays. And because it's Volga German, we put some Volga Germans in there, and then we put the university, you know, everything that's on there.
One of the main features on this mural is the Volga German farmers that are painted. They began arriving in Kansas around places such as Hays and Victoria in the late 1800s. When coming to Hays, they brought their farming experience in wheat, which ended up being perfect for the climate that they went to. The traditions that the Volga Germans brought to Hays, such as the food, music, and events, are still a part of the community today. Picking and choosing what to paint and coming up with creative ideas may seem like one of the hardest parts of being an artist. But Dennis didn't really have to worry about any of that when making his murals in Hays.
Well, most of the time, and it's a commission piece, usually a commission piece, and they tell me what they want, and then I create it from that point on. And on the murals, it's the same way. You know, when I started on that first one, it was supposed to be painted on the big bend that's downtown in the park. And the railroad came in and says, no, we're tearing down that building in 3 years. And so we didn't paint it on there. Most of the time, most of the murals that are in Hays, we went and the ones in the Paint the Bricks, that was a campaign, we went out and found a bunch of places that wanted or had good space for the murals. There was one that was put on the queue.
One of the most widely liked murals around Hays is the one located on 809 Ash Street on the backside of the Golden Q. This vibrant and colorful mural encapsulates the Hays American lifestyle. With the green scenery and all the different types of wildlife that has been painted, tells the experience you'll get when living in Hays, Kansas. This mural also shows the Fort Hays State logo to let people know who pass by about the college that is located here. There is also the Hays High School mascot, but there was some controversy with that.
And I put the logos, Hays High was on there. The Indians. I got more comments on putting an Indian. I mean, we had to take, people are funny, you know.
People might wonder how Dennis gets all the funding for these big projects, as someone would have to buy all the paint, the use of different materials, and renting out all the equipment. But it's honestly a lot simpler than you really think it is.
Most of this stuff was in cooperation with the Hays Arts Council too. And the Hays Arts Council was actually the commissioner. We could go out and ask for donations, and it would go through with they could donate to it and have a write-off for it. Because it was through either the Hays Arts Council, they're both 501c3s, so then you could go out and raise money. The very first one that Hays did was the state mural, and that's the way we raised money for that one. We raised I think $125,000 for that one. But it was a 5-year project, so it wasn't real profitable for me, but it opened a lot of doors. So
Getting your work noticed and being able to have all of these doors open for you as an artist is one of the best ways to get more job opportunities. And it sure worked for Dennis when contacting about the VFW mural.
And so I had gone to VFW and asked them if they would like to have one on their building, and they were very excited to have that. So we raised the money for that.
The 150 Years of Service mural is located on the north side of the VFW post office on Vine Street. It was made to commemorate the 150th anniversaries of Ellis County, the city of Hays, and historic Fort Hays. It takes different aspects of military history associated with the region, such as the Buffalo Soldiers. These soldiers served at Fort Hays and the Walker Air Force Base, which was operational during World War II east of Hays. When talking about the history of Hays and how the murals depict it all, the mural that shows the most history of Hays, Kansas has to be the one on the S&W Supply Warehouse.
That has the three amigos on there, or Cody and all those, and those were those were part of the history of Hays.
The Three Amigos mural in Hays, Kansas is located on the north side of the S&W Supply Building at 8th and Allen Street. This mural portrays the three iconic figures from the Old West who significantly influenced Hays' history. William Buffalo Bill Cody got his nickname and was significant in Hays for supplying buffalo meat to the railroad workers in the area. Hays became one of his key locations in his career. Wild Bill Hickok was a legendary lawman and gunslinger who served as sheriff in Hays and set the standard for the town's law enforcement during their early years. The final amigo is General George Custer, who was a U.S. Army officer and cavalry commander. He was stationed nearby at Fort State during the Indian Wars. The crazy thing about all these murals painted in Hays is that Dennis has no help on them, and he does them all by himself.
I come up with the ideas. I pass it by, but most of the times, most of the things that we're raising money for, we don't even know what it's going to look like when I tell them, it's going to have this, or it's going to have that, it's going to have something like this, or something like that, and I just start painting. So the murals were more of a release for me because my canvas works are very, very detailed, and the murals are, it's bigger strokes, so I don't have to be with that fine. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. The one that was on the ark was just with their people. And that was a fun one to paint.
This vibrant mural depicts scenes of individuals engaged in activities such as basketball, baseball, track and field, cheerleading, bingo, and even dancing. These representations reflect the programs and events organized by the Arc of Central Plains, emphasizing the inclusion and celebrations of individuals with disabilities within the community. Painting these murals is no easy feat by any means, and honestly, the planning process itself can also be very hard too, and will take a very long amount of time.
Well, it probably takes a month of planning and raising money. And then it takes, depending on the mural, the one on the Fox building probably took 4 months to finish. Most of them, the bigger ones, take about 4 to 6 months. So you kind of have to plan around the weather. I have painted murals in January. And that's what's good about art. Everybody likes certain things. And the people that like a certain mural, they're the ones that comment on it. But the ones that don't like that mural are also the ones that comment.
In Hays, Kansas, history isn't confined to the pages of dusty books. It's painted on brick, alive in color, and told by the walls that surround us. From pioneers and soldiers to unsung heroes and vibrant communities, each mural tells a story that continues to shape the spirit of this town. In Hays, art just doesn't reflect history, it becomes it.